All right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to acquire a bunch of supplier leads for good products using Amazon's catalog mostly, but let's start with Keepa.com as the starting point. This is going to filter out a bunch of products that meet the criteria, and it'll be a good launching point um, to start crawling the catalog and then looking at other storefronts and seeing what products they sell. So let's go into data and then product finder. And side note about Keepa, a lot of people think it's just the Chrome extension, but this is actually a great way to filter the entire Amazon catalog for specific products that meet specific criteria that you're looking for. So I'll show you what I mean by that right now. So first of all, let's set a maximum sales rank. So a lot of products, especially in wholesale, you don't want them to sell one time a month or 10 times a month even. You want them to be moving, 50 plus units a month on the listing. So I usually will cap the sales rank of a product that I will sell at around 200,000 rank. Some categories are bigger than others. So for instance, a 200,000 sales rank in home and kitchen, which is a huge category, that might actually sell a couple hundred units a month, whereas a 200,000 rank in, let's say, musical instruments might sell one time a year. So it is category specific, but leaving it around 200,000 filters out most stuff that's barely selling. So, and then down here in the middle, you can see your current filter matches 32 million products. So clearly we have to filter this a little more to get to the good stuff. And you can keep filtering and filtering until you have, a list of a few hundred. And you can filter all sorts of which ways. Like every filter on here, you can make tighter, you make looser until you get to the right mix of products. So let's see. Next, we have a price. You can filter this, but I'd rather just skip over all that stuff. Let's see. Used condition stuff, warehouse deals, refurbished, collectible. I don't really take a look at that. And eBay, no. Okay, this is an important one. So root category. So look at all the categories you want to sell in and then also what you don't want to sell in. So for instance, I'm not interested in seeing any appliances. I'm not trying to sell refrigerators, ovens, whatever. Nothing to do with Alexa, Amazon Autos, Amazon devices, Audible books. There's just a lot of products here that I don't want to sell. CDs, cell phones, and accessories. A lot of stuff. So what we can do to filter out those categories is choose none of, and then let's just select a few. So we've removed Alexa skills, Amazon Autos, and we'll just keep going. And you may want to sell some of this stuff, but I personally am not interested in a good amount of these. No books, no CDs, no cell phone accessories. Personally, I don't want to sell clothing, shoes, and jewelry, but you may. But that's a major category I'm going to remove. Collectibles, no, no, no. Gift cards, no. Handmade, no. These are all good. Kindle store, no. Luxury, probably not. Prime Video, no. Software I saw, that's a no. And then lastly, I'm going to add video games as well. You can do well with video games, but I just have no experience in that category. There are plenty of other categories I do have experience in. So, and notice when I removed all those categories, the amount of products just about chopped in half, so that's good. Now let's keep going on. Offer count. This one's really important. Although I think there is an FBA offer count, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not seeing it yet, but I'll just start with the new offer count. Let's say 7 or more, and that includes FBM sellers, FBA offers. That's just total offers on the listing, could be either. And as you can see, that really narrowed it down all the way down to 410 products. So you see, most of those products were by a brand selling exclusively, or they're partnered with one seller, or it's Amazon themselves selling. So that really helped narrow down the catalog a lot. I would say you could put buy box seller to third party, but sometimes it is Amazon, but Amazon's on there just a small percentage of the time, and I still want to look at that. So I'm going to leave that blank. Use, doesn't matter. Okay, Amazon's buy box percentage in the last 30 days. That might be too short a window. Sometimes they're on and off. So I'm just going to say in the last 100 days, let's make sure they're not in the buy box more than 30% of the time. So most of the sales are still going to third party sellers. That chopped the list down just about in half again. And then we're going to uncheck digital and ebook. Let's see. You can set a low return rate item if you don't want any headaches with an item that gets frequently returned. You can also set a minimum rating. So sometimes products that are only 3 or 3.5 stars, there's just a lot of problems. The description's inaccurate. There's some sort of issue. So if you want just low headache products, you could set this like 4 or 4.2. Let's see. These are just item weight dimension specifics. Okay. All right. And then lastly, just to narrow down the list a little more, I'm going to say new price, let's say minimum $15. Let's see what that did. Yeah, that narrowed it down to 85,000. Still a ton of products, but that's okay. We can take a look at this. And if you wanted to narrow this down to, like, let's say 1,000, 2,000, easy thing to do would just be to select one specific category, especially if you're trying to niche down into one category. That would be an easy thing to do, just search one category. But this will be good enough, and we'll see what's going on. Okay. So we have this massive list. So let's open up a few of these. And I'm going to try and open up a few different brands. So here's one. Stanley mugs. I'm not going to do that. That's more of an arbitrage product, I believe. Let's see. Vortex Optics. I'll open up. Oh, oops. I'm clicking on the wrong thing here. Sorry. Texas Instruments, that's probably a little bit too big of a brand. Very popular electrolytes, probably not. I'm looking for things that are a little lesser known, because those are the types of brands that are more likely to work with you. Here's another one that's relatively unknown. So you can start here. What I'm looking for really is more than one FBA offer. Sometimes in certain categories, when there's a lot of FBM offers and only one FBA offer, it usually means that most of these offers are drop shipping. They have a wholesale drop ship supplier, and when they get the occasional order, they put that order in with the supplier ships it straight to the customer. That's not really the business model that we're looking for right now, so I might just skip over that. There's 2 FBA offers on this one, 4 on this one, 8 on this one. Okay, that's good. So let's start with the one with 8. And this is an extremely fast seller from the looks of it. Although in the camera category, well, looks like maybe certain variations are selling faster. That's selling 400, over 800, over 1,000 on this variation, and over almost 1,000 on this one. Yeah, so collectively, these 4 different sizes on this listing selling several thousand a month. Yeah, pretty top seller here. And the cool thing is it does look like there's a fair amount of FBA offers. I'm going to go back to the one with 8. So this variation has 8 different offers on it. So the reason I spent that time in Keepa is to find a bunch of listings with a bunch of third-party sellers on it. First, I'm going to look first at this brand, Vortex Optics. So next step is to understand their website, and I'll go to where to buy, potentially online retailers. Interestingly, Amazon is not listed here. Maybe they're embarrassed to mention that, or trying to push more of the sales away from Amazon to these other dealers, which can't fault them there. And I'm looking for a link like wholesale, distribution, dealers, something like that. And I have actually found it. So prospective dealers, that's exactly what I would be. Become an authorized dealer today. And let's see, requirements. Must have a fully staffed brick and mortar retail location. Must be willing to sign here to the MAP agreement. MAP means minimum advertised price. So going back to this listing, if they say you have to list this at $169, that's what you have to do. And it looks like all the sellers are adhering to that very well. And it looks like in the past, they might have had an issue potentially with some of that. But it looks like the sellers they do have are doing a very good job of adhering exactly to the MAP price. Minimum order of $5,000 of at least 6 SKUs, annual purchases 7,500 or more. So this will probably be a non-starter for an online-only dealer, but it might be worth a phone call to see if it is possible to get around that. But it may take some convincing, or it may say we will do a massive order, something like that. Then dealer instructions, fill out the questionnaire, and then email them with the questionnaire attached. Simple enough. So this, I would say, is a lead, and it's a brand lead. So I have this spreadsheet here called supplier list. Pretty basic. Supplier name, website, any contact name like a sales rep that you can find, or someone listed right on the website. Company phone number, email, and then whether you've contacted them, and then the notes. And then what I like to do, if I open an account, I'll just highlight the whole row. Let's say I get the account successfully, I make it green. If it's pending and we're still going back and forth, I'll put yellow. And then if they deny me, it'll be red. Basic stoplight system. And this is what I use for years. And I think it's all you need as a brand new seller, or even if you have been selling for a year or two. I think you only really need to upgrade to like a proper CRM or software to handle this. Is if you have multiple people reaching out to accounts to not get your wires crossed, and a more formal sales process, which are good things as you grow. But I think honestly, this is all you need. It's what my business used for 5 years up until maybe a year ago, so a year or two. So this works perfectly fine. So next, I'm going to paste in the URL of exactly that prospective dealer list, and then Vortex Optics, contact name, I did not see one. Then you can go back to the website and you can copy this email. I'm not seeing a phone number. I do see a fax number, but not a phone number. So, but just put down what you can. And I'm just going to say brick and mortar requirement because that's what it says on the website. And there. Okay, now I'm going to go into the specific storefronts. So Optics Force authorized dealer, only 243 ratings in the last 12 months. So it looks like it's not a massive store. And then I'm looking at other brands that they sell. So what this storefront widget is, this is from RevSeller. So you can toggle this on and off. You can either view their products in the classic way, like this, scrolling through, or you can toggle this on, and what it will do is compile all of the ASINs that the seller is selling and organize it by brand name. And that's much easier to see. We can just see what brands that they sell versus going through each and every product of their hundreds and hundreds of products and say, oh yeah, Vortex, I already saw that. Maybe I didn't see this one. And it's much harder that way. So I would just go down the list. So Vortex, we have covered. We have their contact info. It's on there. Let's go to the next one, Holosun. Okay, now let's open a listing from Holosun to see, are they working with one seller? Are they working with a lot of sellers? Let's take a peek. And it looks like there are 13 FBA sellers, so that's a good sign. They have a lot of partners. It looks, again, like a very strict MAP policy that everyone is adhering to. So this actually does look like a prospective brand to contact because they're working with 13 sellers. So now let's Google them. Check out their website. Okay, their website is loading quite slowly. Not sure why, but we'll give it a second. Support about, pretty basic website. But let's see if we can find some sort of contact, email, or phone number. And while we're on the topic of guns and scopes, obviously some of these products are prohibited for sale on Amazon, so check the restricted products policy, of course. But there are certain accessories that are okay. I think these scopes in particular are okay with Amazon, but the actual firearms are obviously not going to be allowed to be sold. And I just happened to stumble on this, customer service, become a dealer. So we found the right thing. And it looks like a form to fill out. So this is the URL that I would copy over. And yeah, and then you could also say, like, I could add another column here, contact method. I could even make this a drop down. So the main ways you're going to call a brand or contact a brand is going to be phone call, email, through a contact form on their website, And that's pretty much, unless you're at a trade show. So we'll just color code that. And so let's say you did fill out the form. I would say contacted, yes, form. Another one, contact date. So you can know, when to follow up. So let's say it's today's date. And you can sort this by date too. You can go in and just say like, okay, which brands have I contacted that gave me a maybe or gave me a no or didn't respond at all. You could circle back in another 90 days with each of them. One thing to note is sometimes brands will say no, and then you might contact them a second time and they might say yes. It's a bit of a crapshoot sometimes. Like if they just happen to be at a moment where they want to take on more online partners, then great. Sometimes you just catch brands at the right time, the right person at the right time. So things can change quarterly. And also following up again shows persistence. You don't want to be annoying, but if you're persistent in a non-annoying way, then that can show the brand that you are really genuinely interested in obtaining an account with them and not just like rapid firing, 1,000 emails out to brands with very little care and effort. So yeah, putting the contact date would be good. And we now have 2 brands that seem pretty promising. And I'm just going to go down the list here. So Zeiss binoculars, I'm just going to check out a listing here. Okay, this one is retailed by Amazon, so this is one I may skip, but I'm going to see how much Amazon is dominating on this listing. There's a main way to do this. There are a couple ways, but first of all, I'm going to see on the Keep It chart if the whole background is Amazon, then that means they're pretty consistently in stock. And then you can also see as I hover over the buy box, and you can see the buy box is mostly dominated by Amazon. And then I can further confirm that if I go to offers, and then you can see in the last 30 days how much buy box share Amazon is getting. And this is actually lower than I thought. So Amazon is getting about 51% of the buy box in the last 30 days. And it is good to see that there is another seller getting 32% and a third seller getting 17%. So that is encouraging. You can also go back a little further. So the 90-day story is a little different. Amazon's getting more sales, but not all of them. 180-day, they seem even more dominant. So yeah, tough to say. I would probably stay away from this just because of how much buy box share Amazon is getting. Not a game I like to play. So let's skip that brand. Now let's go to the next one, Berkey. Okay, let's check this out. And it appears they have 14 FBA sellers, so that's an encouraging sign. Again, looks like a very strict MAP policy that everyone is following. And this looks good enough to me oh, it's funny, I actually purchased this. Yeah, it's a water filter. So yeah, I'm going to go on here and see what the deal is getting a wholesale account. So Berkey water filter. And this is kind of weird. There are a lot of websites out there. USA Berkey filters, big Berkey water filters, BerkeyHome.com. Sometimes brands allow you to make these like Shopify sites, which it looks like some people did. So I'm not sure which is the actual manufacturer website. Their official website is BerkeyWater.com. Okay, thank you, AI. All right, here we go. Big and bold, become a dealer. Click that. Let's see what they have to say about becoming a dealer. Have a business with a tax ID, place a $2,500 minimum order, be willing to sign a legally binding dealer agreement. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, and then this is a long list of questions. They may or may not say later on in this application, we do not permit sales on marketplaces like Amazon.com without prior authorization, and then you need to have that conversation. They may or may not be opening up more dealers, or there may be additional requirements for that. So, but this looks fairly promising so far. So I'm going to add them to the list. And let's just pretend that I filled out a form today. And feel free to put any notes, status, whatever. So in this manner, I would continue and continue and continue. I basically barely scratched the surface of one single storefront on one single listing that I had as a starting point. And if you'll recall, there were so many of these. I mean, I would say the really, really big brands like Febreze or Gorilla Glue or Sheba Cat Food, Nalgene, you're looking at sellers that are buying from distributors, and that's fine. You can buy from distributors, but just understand those mega brands, they're not going to be like the brand direct relationships, direct authorization from the brand. It's going to be buying through distribution. There are pros and cons to either. I'm not for or against distribution versus brands necessarily. I prefer personally partnering with brands directly. There are a few benefits to that. So I like to skip over the household names and just look at the smaller, relatively obscure brands. So I'll just pick out a few more here, and then I think you'll get the idea of how to basically do this at will. And if you are finding the mega brands, you can go over to this other tab, distributors, with the same info on here. You can actually go on those brands' websites, and they will often have a list of their authorized distributors. And then you can go contact those distributors and make accounts with them, hopefully. So Red Heart Yarn, that looks like the right type of brand. So I'll open up one ASIN from them. This looks like Clarinet Reeds, brand I've never heard of, probably the right size brand. Card sleeves, okay. Yeah, this is a good start. Looks like there are 4 offers on here, incredibly low rank, million variations, so maybe not. Amazon's also on the listing, but it looks like they did stock out for a period of time, so there might be opportunity here. But this is one I'll probably just skip over. I am curious about the Amazon buy box, so yeah, majority of the buy box, but some other sellers getting sales. Think we can do better. Okay, these reads, Amazon is on. A lot of different variations as well. Sells very well, ranked 37. There's actually a third-party seller getting most of the sales, so that's good to see. This person here, we can click into that store. It looks like a brand new store too, which is interesting. And it looks like they are specialized in music stuff. These, I believe, are all music related products. So this person might be buying from a music industry distributor, possibly brand direct, but probably distributor. So an interesting path to go down. I'm just going to look at these next. And I'm seeing incredibly low sales rank. So I guess another thing I should point out is these really, really low sales rank ones are going to be pretty ultra competitive. So if you wanted to set like a minimum of 10,000 sales rank, Oh, whoops. I have that backwards. 10,000 to 200,000. That will help you cancel out like the absolute insane products. And already it looks a little bit better. I'm not seeing quite as many mega brands on here. So I'm seeing Thrifty, never heard of them. 4 FBA sellers, sells a lot. You got Drain Cleaner. Yeah, this looks like a great example of a brand to contact. Sometimes just from the listing image, you can see like the manufacturer info, but I'm not seeing it on here. But that's okay. It should be pretty easy to find. Thrift Drain Cleaner. And here it is, thriftmarketing.com. Very old school website, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And then it says to order thrift for your business, where to buy. Okay, sure. So it looks like there are some wholesale distributors. Here's a whole list. So this is what I was talking about. Sometimes if you go on a brand's website, you'll have just a huge lead list of distributors right there. And then if you happen to be close to one, even better. Like let's say you're in California, you can actually show up to this place and maybe explain to the owner what you do and that you're looking for certain products, and and then let's see. So what I would do here is probably not buy through a distributor. I would probably try to get distributor tier pricing, because it looks like based on the sales velocity, I would be selling over 1,000 of these a month, which means I need like 100 to 200 cases every month, which we're now talking pallet quantities. For a small brand like this, they may prefer that you just go direct, and that way you also get the best pricing as well. So this looks like another pretty solid lead here. So I'm just going to put that on here. And if you stuck with me this long in the video, you now have 4 brand leads, which is nice. And let's say I called them today, and let's just say, for instance, they rejected me. Oh well, I'll put that as red. Doesn't mean I'll never contact them again. They might have a rejection reason, like not taking sellers right now, but asked to check back in 6 months, something like that. It might be like circle back with me later type of thing. So the more descriptive you can be with the notes, the better. It'll give you or whoever's helping you with account outreach be able to revisit these effectively. So yeah, this is the basic method. And in 30 minutes or so, we added 4 pretty quality brand leads. And then if I took all the info from this site, we'd have another 15 to 20 distributor leads. So if you do this just for a few hours a week, or maybe you're just starting and you want to just compile a massive list of brands and distributors, then you can use this method to find all sorts of brands. And this part of the business should never be a bottleneck. There's so many brands out there to contact that this part of it should never be the problem. The more challenging part, which I'll do in a future video, is actually contacting these brands, mustering up the courage to talk to them on the phone, talking about the big bad Amazon, and trying to take their maybes into yeses, or their no's into maybes, and then yeses. That'll be the topic of another video. But this is one of about 4 methods that I use in my business to find quality brands that will actually work with newer third-party Amazon sellers. So hopefully you enjoyed me meandering through the catalog here and adding brand leads. And we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks.